I'm Keaton Fletcher, an assistant professor of industrial organizational psychology at Colorado State University.
And I'm Mariana Arvon, an organizational psychologist who specializes in organization and talent development.
And this is Healthy Work. Hey, Mariana.
Hey, Keaton.
Happy 100th episode.
Unbelievable. I feel like I should be like popping a champagne right now.
Oh, we messed up. We should have do it.
Insert a sound effect.
Yeah. Okay. I will find sound effects of like popping champagne bottles, like the little New Year's Eve like whistle thingy, you know, the blowy whistle thing.
As you should.
I imagine me with a party hat on. I'm not wearing it, but like imagine me with the hat on. Yeah, we have had a good run so far and have no plans of stopping anytime soon.
I love that. And 5 years just went by in a blink.
I know, 5 years. In preparation for this episode, I've been going back and like listening to our older episodes, which also we are so much better at making a podcast now than we were 5 years ago. I am so much better at editing a podcast now than I was 5 years ago. Yeah, we've come a long way.
I love it.
But like, dang, so much has happened. We have had children.
Mhm.
I mean, I think Evan had just been born right before we started our podcast, but August and autumn, we've changed jobs.
Yes, careers.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I moved states. I think did you move houses?
I did. We bought houses. You've bought houses.
I started a skincare regimen. We're adulting.
I'm impressed. You used to be like, sun's out, Keaton's out, laying in the lawn chair.
Oh no, I still do that with a lot of like sunscreen now though. But we got to do some damage control on the face because we are aging, not like fine wine, more like leather. So.
I feel that. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I figured we could do some fun stuff for our special 100th episode, starting with a bit of a look back. I think as we were just kind of highlighting, a lot has happened, you know, in our personal lives, but also the world and also the science, right? OHP has advanced a lot in 5 years and we've covered a lot of it. I feel like we're on the forefront of the science, covering stuff as it comes out. You know, looking back, what stands out to you? Is there anything or any big themes that like we've learned over the last 5 years?
You know, I have an observation about the literature and sort of where our field of occupational health psychology is going. And I think what's so cool is that you've gone from this area that has been sort of really focused on like, what happens to you at work? Do you have a high workload? Is someone being rude to you? Do you have something that's ambiguous or unclear? And what does that do to you on your job? And we've gone to such a broader, more holistic, familial, societal, political view of some of these issues. And I think that's been really cool and striking looking back at these episodes. We looked at everything from, you know, of course, the localized things, you know, how someone treats you, how your boss treats you, but also, you know, what's going on with your family, what's going on with your children, what is your parental leave policy like at your company, what is air pollution and how is that affecting your work? And so I think that's been a really cool thing to watch. And you can really see it over as you scroll through our past episodes.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think maybe this is like the intersection of my own growth as well as the fields, but it does seem like a pretty consistent shift in perspective over the last 5 years or so, away from like individual level interventions, things that people can do like mindfulness. Remember, like mindfulness was so hot right as we had been starting this. I feel like it's not gone. It has value, but it's not like the main thing. And I think things have started to shift more towards like those system level interventions. What can companies do? What can, you know, governmental bodies do as far as maybe not necessarily the research itself, but like the practical implications, though some of the research, especially out of Europe. And again, I think maybe that's my own journey sort of intersecting with the field, but I do feel like the field has broadened, as you were pointing out, away from just focusing on what can the individual do to manage their health and well-being in the face of the challenges of work to what can we do in this broader system to set individuals up well for their health and well-being. And I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. And like even in terms of the outcomes that we look at as well, right? Like let's look at the impacts on children. Let's look at the impacts on public health. I think it's a new lens and a really important one.
So with that in mind, in 100 episodes, which I do hope does not take us another 5 years.
I
I
know, me too.
So in 100 episodes, ideally less than 5 years from now, what do you think we will like look back and see as trends? Like, what do you hope maybe the field will have taught us in the next 100 episodes?
I hope we'll have a better understanding of interventions. It's so important to understand what types of policies, whether it's at the state, the national, the local level, whether it's at the company level, what types of things are going to help improve people's working conditions and improve people's lives and health. There's been some really cool intervention research that we've covered, but there's still a dearth of it. It's still a minority compared to a lot of the research in this field, I think. So that's one thing I want to know. The other thing that I want to know is more about the impact of emerging technologies, right? I want to know about AI and how that's impacting people's job security and their feelings of meaning. And I want to know about social media and how that's impacting people's work experience. So I think more on emerging technologies. But what about you? I'm curious, what do you want to know?
Yeah, I am really interested in the populations that we've forgotten or overlooked. And, recently, like, for example, in PsyOp, there's been a big push in like women's health issues. The 3Ms paper from Alicia Grandy and colleagues that came out, I think really lit a fire under that trajectory. And that's really awesome because there's not a whole lot of work that it looks at women's issues in the workplace. But also, I think that there's a lot of other underrepresented populations in the research. Not that they're underrepresented in the workplace necessarily, but like at least in the research. So low income workers, which I think is going to be increasingly common, right? Precarity of work and the nature of gig work and things like that, where you just can't rely on having a job the next day or having income the next day. What does that look like? Yeah. And non-managerial jobs, our field has been criticized for focusing just exclusively on managers. And so I think there's a lot of work to be done on the front lines that aren't just like call center employees associated with universities,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious about that. And I think more and more I'm curious about government intervention and what that looks like, to your point of like, can we take a more interdisciplinary approach? Can we work with economists or political scientists to look at the impacts of these major macroeconomic political changes to policies that affect work? Like, work is by definition a political activity, right? I think corporations are a political entity that we as society have said, okay, you can be a thing. We'll treat you as one thing that has liability separate from the individuals that make it up. And in exchange, XYZ. And so regulations around that and around that relationship and the nature of what organizations are expected to do, are allowed to do, impact the nature of work. And I think that there's some people doing some cool work on this, and I just want to see more of it. And I think there's going to be a lot of room in areas for growth and exploration in sort of like a natural experiment as you see countries take really diverging approaches to the economic challenges that we've had since COVID.
That's a great one. I think that it'll be very interesting to see in our current, environment and landscape, how far we get, how we overcome some of the challenges that we're experiencing, right? From national policy, at least in the United States, around worker safety, and how can we come together as a field and try to advocate despite all the challenges that we face, right? So
yeah, well, that got heavy.
Sorry.
No, that's good. This is the perfect kind of episode. We're going to get a little dark, a little heavy, but then we're going to pull it back because I've got a silly, fun game for you about how well do you know our podcast? And I really encourage our listeners to play along. You can keep scores at home.
Oh no, I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I have a leg up on you because I edit all these podcasts. So I feel like I doubly engage with our podcast. And so I'm curious where we're at to like lay the groundwork, some fun stats about our podcast. We've had over 30 guests, all IO psychology experts on, ranging from, David Yamada, the lawyer pushing for the anti-bullying legislation to recent PhDs or PhD students to we had our EOHP Spotlight miniseries. I think it's just really cool how many people have been able to join us on our podcast. We've had roughly 16,000 downloads of our podcast, which is very cool.
That is awesome.
Right. That's really cool. We switched services from, I don't remember what we were hosting on before, but then we switched to Substack. And so it sort of like refreshed. So I'm actually sure it's probably over 16,000, but at least in the last like couple of years, it's over 16,000. And so having laid that groundwork, are you ready for our little trivia quiz?
Ready or not, here we go.
Okay. First question. What was the topic of our very first episode?
Oh, jeez. Micro breaks.
Oh my God, nailed it. 1 point for you, Mariana. Well done.
I definitely did not have our podcast up in front of me on my phone.
Mariana!
Okay, you know what? I swear to God, I'm putting it down. I just had to not embarrass myself.
Hilarious. I wouldn't have blamed you. I do not recommend anyone go back and look at it. The science is cool, but the podcast editing is garbage. So it really improves like a year into the podcast, but that first episode, the editing is really rough. Okay, Mariana, 1 question, 2 points. What is the name of our intro outro song and who's it by?
Okay, that one I do not know. Wait, is it? No, I don't know. What I want to do is start playing an episode and scrolling to the end so I can listen to the credits, but I can't do that live.
That would be Zero Microsong by Steve Combs. Okay. What is our most listened to episode?
I guess it would be one of your interview ones because those typically get a really wide reach. You mentioned the one about bullying. Is it the one about bullying, workplace legislation around bullying?
Oh, that's a good guess. But no, it is Outcomes of Childhood Trauma, episode 39, which I think might have actually been an interview with Kim. And just behind it by like 2 listens is Handling Customer Mistreatment, episode 42. So they also have like the benefit of like years of accumulation of people listening. And I think people have like assigned them as parts of classes. So
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's so fun.
yeah, very cool. All right, Mariana, next question. 2 points. There are 2 objects in our logo. What are they?
Okay, this one I know. It's a laptop and a stethoscope.
You nailed it. Yeah. Woohoo!
Yes.
2 points for you.
Finally, I did not cheat on that one. I knew it.
Yeah, excellent. I'm proud of you. I knew you had this. We had a crossover episode with a different podcast. Who was it?
Was it the Worker Bee?
Yeah, the Worker Being podcast with Katina Sawyer and Patricia Gabraric. They are now thriving at work. Love them. They have a book out. So go listen to them. But yeah, way back when we had our crossover episode on the science practice gap.
Awesome.
Yeah. Who is the guest we've had on the most?
Kim French.
Nailed it. Yeah, obviously. Poor Kim. I can just be like, come to our closet. I need to record an episode.
God bless your wife. She's truly the best.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the trivia, but now we're moving into the who said it part of the quiz.
All right. Are we inclining guess?
No, just you and me. The only options are you or me.
Okay.
I tried to pick ones from like way back when, so like there's no chance that you like directly remember saying this probably.
Okay.
Quote, I literally don't get up until I'm in aching pain in some part of my body.
That sounds like you.
That was you in episode 2.
Oh my God. What? Wow. 2020 Mariana was going through it, which I mean, okay.
We were. We talked a lot about how rough COVID was. I mean, and also now I am just in physical pain anytime I get up. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's true. 5 years will do that to you.
It will. Quote, leave the cruise ships just to me. I want the all-you-can-eat buffet all to myself.
100% you.
Yeah.
I
Episode 6.
knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it because I don't like cruises, so I knew that was you.
This is less of a quote and more of just like a curious thing. What did we compare to the Patronus spell from Harry Potter in episode 7?
You've got me beat here. I have no clue.
deep acting, because you have to like feel happy to make the Patronus spell. For deep acting, you have to like generate that positive emotion to like actually experience it. And so we talked about how deep acting is like a Patronus spell, and you're like, I will always remember that. And here we are calling out episode 7, Mariana.
I did not remember it. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's good. But no, sorry, that one did not stick.
No, it's all right. Okay, back to who said it. Quote, you don't have to go to the Galapagos Islands.
You.
That is me. No context. This is an episode 11. I don't remember why I said it even now.
Now I'm really here. I got to listen to episode 11 again.
Yeah. And the editing started to get better by then. So there's that. Quote, that is our secret handshake. We all hate it. End quote.
Me?
That is you. Yeah. Do you happen to know what you're talking about?
I have absolutely no clue what I was talking about, but that sounds like me.
You were talking about the Myers-Briggs.
Oh, you know what? That perfectly tracks.
It is our secret handshake. Us and personality psychologists. We all hate it. Episode 17. So I will give you a little bit of context for this one. We're talking about a creative task, the classic one where you like think of as many uses for a brick as possible. Okay. Quote, anytime I read about this task, I always get stuck at paperweight and doorstep. End quote.
You.
Yep, that's me. Episode 20, empathetic leadership and feedback. All right. Quote, don't fake a kidnapping. End quote.
That sounds like you.
Also me. Episode 23 on stress inoculation.
Where do you come up with this stuff? Okay, that's good.
All right. Quote, how often are you watching the news? All the time? I'm not. I'm turning it off and I feel great. End quote.
Me?
Yeah, nailed it. Episode 24, doom scrolling. It was about one of your papers.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like me because that's a conscious choice.
Yeah, still relevant.
Yes.
And then last one, this is also not a quote, but who did it?
Oh, no.
So I dropped a food on a child and you dropped beverages on a customer. What did I drop? What did you drop?
I know what I dropped. I dropped an entire plate of wine glasses into a customer's lap, but I also one time spilled coffee all over someone. So it's one of those two. I was a horrible waitress. For you, I'm going to go with like eggs. They're slippery. I truly have no idea what you dropped on
Pizza.
Pizza.
When I used to work at Pizza Hut. Yeah. But that was it from our episode 26 on customer sexual harassment. We talked about how bad we were at serving. And you're like, didn't you drop pizza on a child's lap? I was like, I did. You're like, well, I dropped wine on a customer's lap. So there we are.
See, I knew you dropped pizza on somebody, but when you said a child, I was thinking about one of your boys. I was like, oh, Keaton was eating breakfast. But, you know, you've probably done that dozens of times. So that was my bad.
For sure. No, I have absolutely spilled eggs on our kids. So you're not wrong. Just in the context of our episode. That we were looking for pizza.
Yeah.
I think you did great. Well done,
Thank
Mariana.
you. Thank you. You know what? That was not as bad as I anticipated. That was fun.
You pay attention to us. And hopefully our listeners aced it. They're our superstars.
Yes.
And we appreciate them listening. And I just feel so lucky that we've been able to do this for 100 episodes. And I'm looking forward to 100 more.
Me too. This is so much fun. Absolute shout out to our listeners, the wonderful guests on this podcast, but most importantly, you, Keaton. You make all the magic happen. I'm just along for the ride and enjoying the heck out of it. So here's the next 100.
Thanks, Mariana.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Healthy Work is a podcast written and executive produced by Keaton Fletcher and Mariana Arvon. This episode is produced, mixed, and edited by Keaton Fletcher. Artwork is by Keaton Fletcher. And our music is Zero, Microsong by Steve Combs. Please like us, follow us, and subscribe on whatever podcatching software you use. And please leave a review on the iTunes store. It really does help get us out there.